Yo, 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 welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, I am your host, Jacques Slade. Sorry, got carried away there for a second. Today on the show, we've got Luka Doncic's Los Angeles Laker, Luka Doncic stock rising in Jordan brand now that he's a member of the 17-time world champion and one-time NBA Cup champion Los Angeles Lakers, and what the 17-time world champion and one-time NBA Cup champion Los Angeles Lakers hope to achieve now that Luka Doncic is here. We also have the week's hottest releases, a Jordan Luka 3 in Lakers colors, no doubt, and of course, our Hard Pass, probably relating to Luka Doncic being a Laker. All right, let's start the show with some hot takes. Also, I'm in a hotel in Germany because I'm doing something with Adidas that I can't necessarily talk about right now, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, so A'ja Wilson, she had a very eventful week and sneakerheads were the beneficiary. Not only did she get to see her South Carolina jersey retired, the day after was also the unveiling of her first signature shoe, the Nike A1. You know, we gave Nike a lot of grief over the announcement of the shoes last year and how it felt like the internet kind of bullied them into saying something with regards to the A'ja signature model. At the end of the day, no one outside of Nike and A'ja knows the real story about when they got to work on the A1, but I will say this, if the sneaker internet had not put pressure on Nike to give us any bit of info with regards to the A1, there would not have been this level of anticipation for a sneaker that we think is going to be a banger when they launch in May. In other words, bullying works in this very, very narrow and specific instance. Oh, and we better see LeBron James in a pair of these sometime this season. It's only right since A'ja has been rocking LeBron PEs for a while now. We need some PEs for LeBron, and hey, let's get Luka in there just for the hell of it. Then again, the jokes of best shoes that LeBron's ever worn on court might be too personal for the king to take. While Reebok Golf's comeback was highlighted by the signing of Bryson DeChambeau, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that part of the rollout would be including Allen Iverson. Now, unlike other hoopers who are known to be avid golfers like Steph Curry and Ray Allen, AI is not someone you hear about picking up the bag. That was before I saw the Reebok Golf is bringing back the iconic question red toe to the links. And you know what? Just like the Air Jordan 11 that may or may not have inspired the Reebok question, they look just as good as a golf shoe as they were in a hooping shoe. Kinda. Now, to be fair, I have seen some of the comments who say they look like bowling shoes, and really, I don't see the problem. The way it sounds to me is like people low-key think the Jordan 11s, which may or may not have inspired the questions, look like bowling shoes, and if that's their truth, then be with the sneaker gods. Now, we don't really talk about boxing here on Hard Pass, but when somebody rocks a pair of jorts and boxing boots that look like Tim's, we have to talk about that on Hard Pass. The shoe surgeon created this customized New York-centric fit for Stephen Fulton Jr., new WBC featherweight championship. I mean, it's an impressive combo because they really look like jorts and Timbs, which probably wouldn't be ideal boxing gear. I can't wait for the LA equivalent, which probably includes like a cut-off chinos, high socks, and a pair of Chucks or maybe Cortezes. Cortezes would be better. Yeah. Let's go with our picks of the week. Like we mentioned last episode, February is a busy month for sneakers, and this coming week is among the biggest of the entire year. It's NBA All-Star Weekend. Not to mention, it's also Valentine's Day. So we've got plenty of themed sneakers to choose from, but here are some of our favorites. The Adidas Ultra Boost OG 10th anniversary. This is going to be on the 11th for $180. And I can't believe that the Ultra Boost is 10 years old. It seems like only yesterday Kanye was doing his own version of a Jumpman pose, and the whole world was in the palm of his hands. Man, those were simpler times. We have the Reebok Engine A in black and silver. This is going to be on the 13th for $120. So Reebok's big return to hoops starts with the Engine A that reminds some old heads of their iconic Mobius line back from the 90s. Then we have the Nike Zoom Kobe 6 Pro Trail All-Star 2.0. This is on the 13th for $190. So this new take on the Kobe 6 could be a teaser for what's possible with the sneakers snake-scaled upper, which would be cool. We also have the Curry 12 What the Bay. This is going to be on the 14th for $140. So Steph is hosting All-Star Weekend, so of course he had to represent for both his old home of Oakland and his current home in San Francisco. Very well done. Then we have the Air Jordan 12 Flu Game. This is a Foot Locker San Francisco exclusive. This is going to be on the 14th. And despite having no news about a proper release date, the 2025 Flu Game 12 Retro will land at Foot Locker San Francisco event for the first time. We have the Air Jordan 1 High 85 Band. This is going to be on the 14th for $250. Here's hoping you scored a pair through a raffle or an in-store event, or you know somebody that knows somebody. Then we have the Swarovski Nike Ja 2. This is limited to basically 2,000 pairs. -1. It's on February 14th for $550. So it's an encore to last year's Swarovski collab. All-star pairs flips with the theme of Juan and decks out the upper with crystals instead of the actual swoosh. You have the Air Jordan 1 Black Toe reimagined. This is going to be on the 15th for $180. And let's be honest, the Wings logo makes this Air Jordan 1 fly. You know, this pair is an homage to the prototype that didn't have the wings, and while it's a nice piece of sneaker history, I think we're better off without the wings, but you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. We have the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Galaxy. This is the Foot Locker early launch on the 16th for $230. We'll talk more about it next week, but man, times sure have changed. Is this really the biggest drop of the weekend? Check out this full list of releases over on the Heat Check on the main Cousteau channel. All right, let's move on to Hard Pass. All right, this week, we want to take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like the Dallas Mavericks front office, because, oh my goodness, they have lost their damn minds. Look, there's no way you're watching this show and somehow do not know what transpired over the past week. We got Luka freaking Doncic in a trade for Anthony Davis. As happy as we Lakers fans are to get Luka, I have to imagine this absolutely sucks for Mavericks fans. Well, they used to be Mavericks fans because I have seen a mass exodus online ever since the news broke. You know it's bad when there are some fans actually asking to cancel their season tickets. I'll be honest, I can't relate as a Lakers fan because Lakers exceptionalism is alive and well, but man, I feel you, Mavs fans. I'd be sick too if the Lakers had traded Kobe in the summer of 1999. Not sick enough to abandon the team because, again, Laker exceptionalism dictates that hypothetical trade probably would have been for Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter, but it would sting a little because so many things have happened around the trade deadline. Jimmy Butler is a warrior. De'Aaron Fox can now be the Tony Parker to Wemby's Tim Duncan. Zach LaVine is in Sacramento to form Chicago West with DeMar DeRozan. Kevin Durant went, well, nowhere and is not happy even though he didn't want to leave in the first place. We're going to break things down in a way that only Hard Pass can. How does it all relate to the Lakers? Let's start with a heartfelt see you later to Anthony Davis. Now, I'll be real. I'm kind of the opposite of most of my Laker fan friends. They're shocked that we got Luka. I'm shocked we don't have AD anymore. I kind of assumed that AD would be this generation's Pau Gasol, meaning that he would play out the rest of his prime in Los Angeles and then either retire as a Laker or bounce around the league trying to chase another championship. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would trade AD within the next 3 to 4 years, and never could I have envisioned it would be for someone of Luka's magnitude, who's not even in his prime. It was ultimately a brief run for AD in Los Angeles, but it was a memorable one for sure. One championship, the first NBA Cup, and a couple of All-Star appearances helped Team USA win the gold last year. There's a lot for him to be proud of. He wasn't the biggest personality that a town like LA craves, but I think we'll trade that vibe for hardware and banners. So thank you for all you've done for the Lakers, AD. And yo, Dallas fans, as much as it hurts, I'd rather have a pissed off, motivated, and hopefully healthy Anthony Davis for the next few years than a typical return of a bunch of young players that could go either way and draft picks that usually never pan out. Honestly, if AD and Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson gel like I think they are capable of, Dallas could make a real run these next few weeks and get themselves into a top 6 spot in the West. Like, if it somehow ends up being a Lakers-Mavs first-round matchup, I'm going to be worried for sure until I realize that we traded for a generational talent who's going to be the face of the franchise for the next decade. But we'll talk about that in a second. So, what to make of Davis's legacy in LA? It's funny to think that the last player prior to Luka who was personified the idea of Lakers exceptionalism would end up being the one who got us Luka. I mean, look at this clip of us from back in 2019 when we found out that AD had been traded to LA.
Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade, and like the legendary Ice Cube once said, today is a good day. Why? Because we got the brow. Not that I haven't been speaking that into existence for the past few months or what have you.
Damn. Co-writer was already doing the ad-libs years before we turned him into a character on the show. Time flies, man. And here we are, nearly 6 years later, left to wonder where Davis ultimately resides in the pantheon of Laker legends. Like, if we had to place him in a tier list, he's not S tier, which is only reserved for the best of the best, like Kobe, Magic, Kareem, Mikan, and Jerry West. He's not A tier either, which is where I would put legends like Shaq, James, Worthy, Wilt, Powell, and Michael Cooper. He's probably a B tier. Yeah, a B tier Laker, along with like LeBron, Robert Horry, Byron Scott, Elgin Baylor, and Derek Fisher. Now, does that mean he's going to get his number retired someday? I would say in this era, when Vince Carter can get his jersey retired twice, I could see the team doing AD a solid and putting his number up in the rafters when his playing days are over. But if I were running the team, I wouldn't do it. One world championship is not enough. Being a part of the first NBA Cup helps his case, but he would be just under the threshold of number retirement. There were the seasons in between the championship campaign and the last season and a half when the street clothes nickname actually stung a little. Any other team would be proud to hang number 3 in the rafters. I just don't see it with AD for the Lakers. Okay, now we get to the fun part. Yo, we got Luka. It's still wild to process, but judging from the takes online, it should be wild to process because no player with Luka's resume at that age has ever been traded. Shout out to Rob Pelinka, but really shout out to Nico Harrison. Hey, nobody told him to put his job on the line for a move that everybody assumed was fake the moment they saw the tweet from Shams, but for that, we are forever grateful. And then we traded for a center named Mark Williams, who's the type of athletic big that Luka loves playing with. Man, hopefully he stays healthy because, yo, the Lakers look good. Now, there's a whole lot of conversation as to why Luka got traded. Was he out of shape? Was he tough to deal with behind the scenes? Was there a fear he might bounce and not sign the Supermax? Are the new Mavs owner tanking the franchise as part of some power play to either move the team to Vegas or open up their own casino in Dallas? Here's my answer to all those things. So what if he's fat? He carried the Mavs to the finals last year. If he can replicate that feat this season with LeBron, he can follow every foodie account and eat them for all I care. Never forget, Shaquille, the regular season is for getting into shape O'Neal, won us 3 rings. Okay, his supposed beef with the front office. Brother, he's in LA. We feed off that drama. I personally don't care about that stuff, but drama and palace intrigue is part of being a Laker. If we get funny tidbits of Luka drinking beer while Coach JJ Redick, it's halfway through his first and it's still weird to call him coach, shakes his head, whatever. Shaq and Kobe wanted to rip each other's heads at various times when they won us 3 rings. Could he conceivably bounce in 2026 at free agency? Sure. But man, if we can't keep Luka past next season and LeBron retires, I'd rather opt for a full reboot instead of trying to rebuild on the fly with AD if the trade hadn't happened. As for that last part about the Mavs, as someone who sympathizes with Mav fans, that sucks if your team is just part of a game of 4D chess with the state of Texas. As a Laker fan, it would be wrong to thank the Mavs owners because of how dirty they did their fans, but a small tip of the cap would suffice. So what do I expect out of the Luka era, which I'm assuming is going to be for the next decade because, again, Lakers exceptionalism and whatnot? Honestly, championships, plural. Assuming LeBron plays next season, this could be one of the wildest 18-month stretches in league history. I don't think we have to worry about the LeBron and Luka fit because LeBron has no problem deferring to someone else if it's the best basketball decision. All those times in the past when people complained about LeBron passing up a last-second shot because he saw a teammate open in the corner, I better not hear those same complaints when Luka is unarguably the most talented shot maker LeBron has ever had. Ironically, the last time LeBron had an all-world creator as a teammate was when he was in Cleveland with Kyrie. Who knows better than anyone what it's like to defer to Luka? But back to championships of it all. Imagine an NBA Finals matchup in June where Luka gets a rematch. LeBron gets to torture an old rival yet again, and the Lakers win number 18. Hell, imagine the finals next year if it's really LeBron's last year and he gets to ride off into the sunset, tying Michael Jordan with 6 rings, and we get number 19. The possibilities are endless. And yes, it's totally not lost on me that if these final matchups did happen, we could see a graphic of Luka and Austin Reeves on one side and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the other. I don't know if that's progress in light of the world that we live in right now, but it would be kind of funny to see. And finally, because this is a sneaker show, kinda, let's talk about Luka and Jordan Brand. While the whole big market thing isn't as important now as it was back then, say when Chris Paul ended up on the wrong team in LA, they're probably still hyped for the opportunity to market Luka in the purple and gold. I can already see them fast tracking Jordan Luka 3 in Laker colors, and you can bet they're scrambling right now to come up with something different and fresh for the Luka 4 than what they would have gotten had he stayed in Dallas. Like, we know Luka is a car guy, and he loves classic American muscle. We've seen him roll up to a guy in a 68 Camaro that matched the colors of his Midnight Racer Jordan Luka 3. That could be a daily occurrence here in LA. New whip every day with matching Luka 3s and eventually Luka 4s. Look, I'm not saying he could be a modern day Eddie Guerrero with the lowriders, but man, wouldn't it be cool if he did? As for public appearances, there's going to be a lot more demand for his time in LA. I don't know if he's ready for that as Chris Paul was when he first got here. Like, I think between co-writer and myself, we probably went to dozens of media events featuring Chris Paul. Some we didn't expect that would be there. It got to a point where co-writer made a joke that he and Chris were on a first name basis. It wasn't true, of course, but that's how out there Chris was. Whether Luka is that game, well, that remains to be seen. But when he is out of the town, you can bet Jordan Brand is going to step up their care package game and have him in the most eye-catching player exclusives. They're going to be so fire. DJ Khaled is going to log off the meeting he can't seem to get out of, fly to LA to beg for them at Luka's mansion, and really, that's what LA needs more of. DJ Khaled. I don't think that sentence went the way I thought it was going to. Anyway, so you made it to the end of this video without throwing up at all this Laker gloating. First of all, thank you, and I appreciate you. It's totally possible that by the time you watch this, the trade could be a disaster and it all comes crumbling down. I doubt that, but as much of a Laker fan as we are here at Hard Pass, we are not the delusional type who automatically assume we're going to get every player. We're still trading Kyle Kuzma for Giannis Antetokounmpo this summer anyways. Antetokounmpo, Charlotte Marler. Nah, we don't do that. I won't even make the can't wait until he's a Laker in a few years jokes because he doesn't seem like the type, but I mean, still he would look great in purple and gold. Anyways, we are real Laker fans with realistic expectations of multiple championships, dynasties, and statues, just like any other fan base. Oh, I forgot, the Super Bowl. It'll probably be done by the time you watch this. Either Jordan, aka Patrick Mahomes, will get his threesome, or co-writer's nephew is extremely unhappy and probably hammered out of his mind because the Eagles won. Either way, go Niners. Sorry, my extremely relevant San Francisco 49ers. Why would I bring up the absolutely relevant San Francisco 49ers at a time like this? No reason. No reason at all, honestly. Just felt like the right thing to do. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before we leave you with a viewer Hard Pass.
Hey, what's up, Jacques? It's your boy, my name is Jalen Armstrong. I am talking to you from VA. I have a IG called Sneaker Talk on IG, but here's the thing that I've been thinking about this for a few years. I think that they should come out with the Air Yeezy Retro. I know, like, it's been in the talk for a few years and all that, and I get that. But, like, I think that, like, if they made an Air Yeezy, like, shoe now, like, all the OG, like, sneaker collectors would be able to get it more easier. Like, the new kids probably wouldn't care about it, but because they only care about the older shoes. But I think that they should really make an Air Yeezy Retro, like the 1 and the 2. Maybe potentially a low. A low could be great, could be not. But yeah, it's just what I think. Thank you for reading this message, and all right, I guess I'll see you on next week of Hard Pass. All right, peace.
You know what? I think that could be a future topic on our podcast, Too Hard to Pass. Thanks for the idea, Josh. Appreciate you. Look, if you'd like to be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, your socials if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Back in the studio. Peace.